Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about something your body does every single day, something you probably don't even think twice about. But have you ever actually stopped to wonder how your body knows when, it's time to go? Let's get into it.
I mean, it just kind of happens, right? But what's really going on behind the scenes is this incredible high-speed conversation happening between your bladder and your brain. Today we're going to break down exactly how that whole system works.
So, first things first. To really get this, we've got to know what it's called. This whole process has a formal, scientific name.
And that word is Micturition. Yeah, it sounds a little fancy, but it's really just the scientific term for the process of peeing. The whole journey starts in your kidneys, which is where urine gets made, and then it travels down to your bladder to be stored.
Now, once that urine gets to the bladder, it doesn't just pass right on through. Nope. Instead, your bladder kind of plays a waiting game, acting as a temporary holding tank. So, how does it manage that? Well, your bladder is basically a muscular bag. And what's so cool about it is its design. The walls are super flexible, and they're made to stretch out as more and more urine fills them up, kind of like a water balloon. So how much does it take before you get that first signal? Well, once your bladder is holding about 300 to 400 milliliters of urine, those stretching walls trigger the very first nerve signals. It's your body's way of giving your brain a heads up, like, hey, we're starting to get full down here. And what's the absolute max? A healthy adult bladder can usually store somewhere around 700 to 800 milliliters. Think about that. That's almost double the amount from when you first feel the urge. Your body builds in a pretty generous warning system.
Now that initial urge is really just the beginning. The most important part of this whole thing happens when your body's main control system, your brain, gets the message.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Think of your bladder as having two little gates or muscles that control the flow. The first one, the internal one, is totally automatic. It relaxes all on its own as the bladder fills. But the external one, that's the one you control with your brain.
So let's put it all together. First, the bladder stretches. That sends a signal up the nerves to your brain. Then your brain basically checks out the situation and asks, is now a good time and place for this? If the answer is yes, it sends a command back down telling that external gate that it's okay to relax.
And this brilliant system, this mix of an automatic signal and your conscious, in-charge brain, is called the Micturition reflex. What's amazing is that it starts as a pure reflex, but it's one we learn to consciously take control of.
Which brings up a really fascinating point. This conscious control isn't something we're just born with. It's a skill our brains actually have to develop over time. So how does that learning process even work?
Well, in very young children, like babies, the process is pretty much all automatic reflex. When their bladder is full, it just empties. But as we grow, the brain develops these powerful new connections that let it take over and consciously control that external muscle.
This totally explains why it takes time to master this control, especially during sleep. The brain is still learning how to pay attention to those bladder signals even when it's not fully awake. It's a completely normal and expected part of growing up.
Okay, so we've covered how the system works. Now let's talk about how much it works and why our daily habits, especially how much water we drink, play such a huge role.
On an average day, a healthy person produces about 1.6 to 1.8 liters of urine. But, of course, that number isn't fixed. It can change a lot based on one key thing.
And that key thing is how much fluid you drink. As you can see here, it's a really direct relationship. The more you drink, the more urine your body produces to keep everything in balance. Drink less, and your body holds on to water by making less urine. It's as simple as that.
So why does this matter so much? Well, staying hydrated is absolutely crucial. Drinking enough water helps your kidneys do their job of filtering out waste, it stops you from getting dehydrated, and it keeps your entire urinary system healthy and happy.
So after all that, let's pause for a second and think. Can you answer these two questions? First, why do we have to pee more after drinking a lot of water? And second, why is it so important to drink enough water every single day? Think it over.
And that brings us to the big takeaway. Micturition isn't just about going to the bathroom. It's a critical process that lets our bodies get rid of liquid waste and, just as importantly, maintain the perfect water balance that we need to live. So the next time you feel that urge, you'll know all about the amazing communication system at work inside you.